Okay. So our next phylum is phylum Arthropoda. So the main features of Arthropoda are fragmentization of the body. That means the body is divided into different parts or divisions. Okay, tagmata. Okay, so that's why that division is called fragmentization. And the main arthros, those means jointed legs, jointed podos means legs. So these animals body is it contains jointed legs. Okay. Anyway, their legs are appendages are not continuous; they are jointed. That's why the name arthropod. So it includes the largest class insecta, and of course, it is the largest phylum of the kingdom Animalia. We all know that. So almost over the two-thirds of all named species are the arthropods. So about 80% of animal species uh, are, 70 to 80% animals are belong to arthropods. So they are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic animals and metamerically segmented. But this metamerism is not, external metamerism. Okay, so body is divided into segments, but internally septa are absent. Okay, so yeah, so these are as usual, they are coelomates. So particularly the schizocelic type of coelomates. Okay, Annelida, Arthropoda, mollusca. These three are schizocelids that will come in the next class. So the body of arthropods is covered by, this is most important for their successful mode of life, chitinous exoskeleton as a protection and to prevent loss of water. So that is an important feature of arthropods. So chitin is the exoskeleton and it periodically shed off by a process called molting. Scientifically, it is called as ecdysis, so that the growth is facilitated. The body is segmented and consists of head, thorax, and abdomen. You remember, this is the basic point of arthropod. Okay, so yeah, they have jointed appendages. So muscles are, yeah, for the first time in the animal kingdom. Okay, so the muscles are appeared. Okay, so they are, to be precise, skeletal muscles. So muscles are already there, but already so the muscles are striated and aid rapid locomotion. This is also one of the second, important point for their successful or active mode of life. Okay, striated or skeletal muscles. You cannot say skeletal, but striated muscles are first time seen in the, arthropods. And the body cavity is generally considered as hemocoel. What does it mean? So it means that the body cavity is filled with hemolymph, or so the blood is filled in the body cavity, and such kind of blood is called hemolymph. Okay, it is formed by the fusion of embryonic blastocyst with some coelomics product. It is not needed here. Okay, anyway, the blood or the hemocoelomic fluid is called hemolymph because it contains the extracellular fluid and the blood. Okay, so and that is filled in the coelom. So that's why the name hemolymph, and that cavity is called hemocoel. Hemo means blood. Okay, seal means coelom, and here lymph means extracellular fluid. Okay, so the tissues are completely bathed in the blood and extracellular fluid, so that are connected to the that is filled in the coelom. Yeah, respiratory organs are gills, book gills, and lungs and trachea. So here, out of these, the trachea are highly evolved and highly developed, structures. So that also one of the reasons for active mode of life of the insects. Okay, aquatic arthropods, they contain gills. Yeah. So you remember very rarely the open type of circulation is seen. Okay. So even in Annelida, closed type of circulation is seen. Whereas in Arthropoda, the circulation is open type of circulation. And that means the blood vessels are absent. Okay. So heart is dorsal in position. This is one of the important point of the invertebrates. In vertebrates, the heart is ventral. In invertebrates, the heart is, dorsal in position. So in some crustaceans and the coelentrates, hemolymph contains a copper containing respiratory pigment called, you know, hemocyan. We have already seen it in the respiratory pigments. Okay, so what is the function of respiratory pigment, which carries the oxygen simply? So nervous system is of annulidin type. So yesterday I told you, so consisting of a nerve ring, so around the esophagus. In the annelida, that is around the what we call the pharynx. Here it is around the esophagus, and as usual, double ventral nerve cord is seen. Okay. So then sensory organs like antennae. Antennae are very, very important. A whip-like structures. Okay. They are of sensory in function. You remember antennae are sensory in function. So eyes are present, but they are not of vertebrate type. So they are called as compound eyes or simple photoreceptor eyes. Okay, and statocysts are seen in some animals like crustaceans. Okay, so they are helpful for the equilibrium as usual. Yeah, excretion takes place through malphizian tubules in insects, and in crustacean, green glands or coxal glands are seen. Okay, so you remember these words. They are for excretion. They will come again. They are mostly unisexual because these are from now onwards. Okay, so most of the animals, almost all animals, one or two exception, from arthropoda onwards, animals are mostly they are unisexual. Okay, so fertilization usually is internal. So that means they do possess a copulatory organ. They are mostly oviparous. Okay, so development may be direct or indirect. Okay, so life history includes in indirect type of development. Life history includes many we will see tomorrow. So many larval stages are seen. So followed by metamorphosis. Okay, so that is general characters and classification of Arthropoda. So Arthropoda is divided into three subphyla: Trilobita, Cheliceratta, Mandibulata. Remember, one question compulsory will be asked from this, general characters and classification. Definitely. Okay, so that's why you see, you read it carefully. So whenever I stress, so that means that is very important for the exam. Trilobita, Calcirata, Mandibulata. Okay. So here, subphylum Trilobita. Actually, these are extinct animals, and they were marine. Okay. So if you see the diagram, you can see there are many appendages are seen. So numerous, and they are all similar, and they are branched or divided into two. Okay, so biramas means two. They are divided into two. Okay, so body is divided into median and two lateral lobes. See, this is median. This is two lateral. So that's why the name the trilobita, trilobes. Okay, so three lobes are present. So anyway, hence the name trilobite. So examples, you should remember these examples. So Triarthus and Dalmanites. Okay, then Cheliceratta. You remember this Chelicera. Okay, so Chelicera containing subphylum. Okay. Anyway, so here you can see is that here the Chelicera are not clear. Fibers are working expenses. Yeah, Chelicera. Here, forceps like appendages are generally first pair of forceps like appendages are present. They are generally called as considered as Chelicerae. Okay. So anyway, here they are yeah. So body consists of anterior 6 segments. Okay, so called cephalothorax or prosoma. Okay, you remember this. And a posterior 13 segmented abdomen or opistosoma. Okay, total 19 segments here. You remember that is fixed. Okay, prosoma and opistosoma. Opistosoma is again divided into mesosoma and metasoma. Okay, this is important point. Prosoma bears as usual the 6 pairs of appendages. The first pair are modified into feeding. I told you they are called Chelicerae. They are forceps-like structures. Okay, so in these organisms, antennae and mandibles are absent. That's why they are not included in the mandibulata. Okay, and the respiratory organs very important. Book gills and book lungs. They will come specifically, and the trachea are also seen in terrestrial forms. Subphylum Cheliceratta is classified into two classes, namely Ziphisura and Arachnida. Okay, so you remember mostly one question may be asked from these two. Okay, Ziphisura and Arachnida. So anyway, Ziphisurans, so example is the Limulus, the king crab, so which is a living fossil. Okay, so anyway, they are marine organisms with bronchial respiration as they are aquatic. As usually, gill respiration is seen. It includes both extinct and only 3 genera of living animals. So that means most of the genera are as species are extinct. So prosoma is covered by a broad horseshoe-shaped carapace. You remember the horseshoe? Okay, so it was asked once. So anyway, you can see this is carapace. Prosoma is completely covered by carapace. So one pair of components. So these are the photoreceptor eyes. Anyway, this is opistosoma. So dorsal region is purely covered by carapace. That is horseshoe shaped. So that's why these are also considered as horseshoe shaped animals or horseshoe shaped crabs. Anyway, yeah, the prosoma bear a pair of calcire and 4 pairs of walking legs and 1 pair of pusher legs. So total 6. You can see if you see the diagram. So this is calcire, 5 pairs of walking legs and the last pair are pusher legs. Okay. So pincer-like appearance is there. Mesosoma bears 6 pairs of appendages. Or just wait. Okay. The first pair is fused to form genital operculum. Okay. And the other 5 pairs are modified into boot heels. Yeah. So this here. So here the genital operculum, the first pair, the remaining pairs are modified into so book gills. So book gills are the respiratory organs of limulus. You remember? Yeah, metasoma ends in a tail cell. You remember this is important. So this is tail cell, that is metasoma. Development includes, this is very, very important. What is the name of the larva of the limulus? Trilobite larva. Okay, it is not larva of trilobita. Okay, so what is a living fossil? So that means right from the beginning of its origin, so it doesn't change during the evolutionary process. It remains same. So that's why this is called living fossil. It didn't evolve. Okay, so example is limulus king crab. So it may be asked in the examination. Okay, so then Arachnida, so it includes scorpions. Anyway, these animals, so these zephysurans are horseshoe crab animals, they are marine animals or aquatic animals, whereas arachnids mostly they are terrestrials. Okay, so prosoma bears a pair of calcire and a pair of pedipalpi or pedipalps. Okay, also them as pedipalps and 4 pairs of walking legs. I'll show you. See, these are calcire. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pairs of walking legs. And this is prosoma is covered by, cephalothorax, what we call the carapace. Okay, so here this is opistosoma, but it is not demarcated. This is considered as mesosoma and this is metasoma. Metasoma ends as a telson as usual. Okay, so here 4 pairs of posterior abdominal appendages are modified into spinnerets in spiders. Spiders, so 4 pairs of posterior abdominal appendages, they are modified into spinnerets. Okay, so you remember that term. And I forgot here mesosomal appendages are modified into book lungs. So what is the example for the book lungs? In which animals the book lungs are respiratory animals? So simply the arachnids and then respiratory organs. Yeah. So book lungs, scorpions and some spiders. Tracheae in some spiders. So in some spiders, book lungs are present, tracheae are also present. Respiratory pigment is hemocyanin. Okay. Excretory organs are Malpighian tubules and the coxal glands. So development is scorpions are viviparous animals. They are exception. So they are not oviparous and they show cannibalism. So they eat their own species. Okay. So example, Pelamnius, scorpion and Arenia, spider. Okay. So each might sarcoptes. So you remember the names. So these two classes are very, very important. Definitely one question will be asked. And then subphylum 3, Mandibulata. So here, mandibulates, most of the mandibulates are, either aquatic or terrestrial. Body is divided into two regions. So one is cephalothorax and abdomen. Two are, if at all, three, head, thorax, and abdomen. Three. Okay. So in some animals, two parts. In some animals, three parts. Okay. So if two parts are there, cephalothorax and abdomen. Three parts are there, head, thorax, and abdomen. Head bears antennae, mandible, maxillae. Okay. Respiratory organs are either gills or tracheae. So it is divided into four classes: Crustacea, Hylopoda, Diplopoda, and Insecta. Crustacea, this is very, very famous. So simply, you remember the prawns. And of course, the cancer. Head, thorax fused to form cephalothorax, covered by a chitinous carapace. Carapace is present. You can see in the prawn structure. In some, the exoskeleton is hardened by calcium carbonate. So crab చూస్తే మిగతా వాటికి different గా ఉంటుంది. So that is due to presence of calcium carbonate. Okay. So cephalic region bears two pairs of antennae. So this is antennules and antennae. Okay. So first pair of antennae are antennules. Second pair are antennae. So this is the unique feature. One pair of mandibles and two pairs of maxillae are seen. Okay. On the cephalic or head region. Remember? So two pairs of antennules, antennae. Okay. So one pair of mandibles, two pairs of maxillae. So thoracic and abdominal appendages are pyramidal. That means they contain two branches. So respiratory organs are, so as they are aquatic, so gills are present. Excretory organs are very, very important. This is very, very famous. So in crustaceans, green glands and antennary glands, both are same. So they are excretory organs. And also hemocyanin, respiratory pigment. Okay, sense organs include antennae, compound eyes, statocysts, etc. So development is indirect and includes different larval forms. So we will see tomorrow. So larval forms of crustacean. So examples: Peliman, freshwater crab; cancer crab; Belanus, rock barnacle; Sarcilina, root-headed barnacle. Okay, and then Astacus, a kind of it's not fish, a kind of prawn. So Daphnia, waterfield. Okay, so these are very, very important examples. You remember their common names also. So after crustacea, second one is Hylopoda. Here, this is very, very famous. So they are commonly known as 100-leggers. Okay, so Scolopendra is included here. So here they are terrestrial, air breathing. So air breathing means trachea or the respiratory organ. Okay, So they are carnivorous animals, not needed here. Body consists of head and trunk. Each segment of trunk bears a pair of. So this is important point of, clawed appendages are present. One pair of clawed appendages are present on the abdomen. Okay, trunk region. So first pair of trunk appendages here, poisonous class. This is also important. First pair of trunk appendages is poison class. And respiratory structures are as usually air breather means trachea are present. So excretory organs are also in terrestrial arthropods, mostly malpighian tubules. So Scolopendra and Scutigera. Okay, so this is right. So after crustacean Chilopoda, next one is Diplopoda. Okay, Diplopoda includes millipedes. So they are commonly known as thousand leggers. So this classification is very, very important. Okay, at least I'm expecting 2 questions. So they are terrestrial, okay, air breathing animals feeding on decaying plant material. So they are, herbivores, right? So body consists of head and trunk, just like chilopods. Head bears paired antennae, mandibles, and maxillae. So here, so maxillae are modified into, they are fused. Okay, so a structure called gnathoscelerium. So that is also a part of feeding structure. So then each trunk segment bears 2 pairs of legs. ఇందాక ప్రీవియస్ వన్ కైలోపోడాలో 1 pair of legs ఉంటాయి, ఇక్కడ 2 pairs of legs ఉండడం వల్ల సో ఇట్ లుక్స్ మెనీ appendages. So that's why the name thousand leggers is given. And then excretory organs are as usual malpighian tubules. So example, Zulus and Spirostractus. So this is Zulus. And the final one is Insecta. So Insecta includes most successful and the largest group of animals on the earth. Okay, so they are absent from marine habitat. So body consists of head, thorax, and abdomen. This is basic point. You should remember. Insect's body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Head bears paired compodyes, antennae, okay, mandibles, maxillae, and so unpaired labium means lower lip. Okay, so you can also hear labrum, upper lip. Okay, and the labium, lower lip. Anyway, thorax, yeah, so thorax consists of 3 segments, and each segment bears a pair of jointed walking legs, we all know. Hence, this class is also referred as hexapoda. Okay, so Insecta is also considered as hexapoda. All right, so thorax also bears 2 pairs of wings. So sometimes in Aterygota, so a subclass, so in which the wings are absent. Example, Lepisma. So respiratory organs are tracheae, so because they are terrestrial animals. And excretory organs are also common here, malpighian tubules, because they are terrestrial. They are, I told you this is during the physiology. So they are uricotelic animals. They excrete uric acid because so for the product conservation of water. So development is mostly indirect with the larval stages and metamorphosis is seen in the larva. So examples. So there are plenty of examples you can take. So these are some examples, important examples. Periplanta americana, Musca domestica, Lepisma. Okay, so silverfish. You remember the name Lepisma, silverfish. Yeah, see, you can see here pair of antennae, pair of compound eyes. So this is the head. So this is thorax bearing three pairs of legs and two pairs of, actually here only one pair is given, but two pairs of wings are seen. This is the abdomen. Okay. So yeah. So here I have added some important orders. Actually, the classification is up to classes only. But so regarding the insecta, these orders are very, very important. You should by heart them. Okay. So order Arthroptera includes grasshoppers, locusts, crickets, and mantis. Okay. And then Lepidoptera, we all know butterflies and moths. Okay. So then see, silk moth is also belong to Lepidoptera. It will come again. So Diptera, we all know that. So Musca domestica, housefly. And Drosophila melanogaster, we all know that it is famous as fruit fly. Then Isoptera, termites. So their common name is called so white ants. Okay, and Dermaptera, this is a famous term, earwigs, and Epimeroptera, mayflies. Yeah, so this is very, very important. Odonata, which animals are included are so dragonflies and damselflies. మన దగ్గర దువ్వెనలు బూగలు అని పిలుస్తాం. So Socaptera, book lice, which eat on books. And Anaphlora, this is very, very, very important. Head louse, pediculus, this will come again tomorrow. So head louse, their order name is Anaphlora or Siphonpelata. And then Thysanoptera, thrips, okay, Hemiptera. So bedbug, Simex, we'll study tomorrow also. And Homoptera, aphids, and Coleoptera, beetles. Okay, so these are I think important orders are all covered. Maybe it may be asked, from this also. Yeah. So then next chapter is metamorphosis in insects. So what is metamorphosis? Simple. After laying the eggs, okay, the egg hatches. Okay, so to produce an immature form that is generally called as larva. So whenever this larva, which undergoes many morphological changes to form adult. Okay, so such phenomena is called metamorphosis. Simple. So in insect, metamorphosis has been defined as the transformation of an immature larval individual into sexually mature adult of different forms. Adult, simple. Okay. So here kinds of metamorphosis. So there are actually three major kinds of metamorphosis, but actually you can say it as four types. Anyway, A for absent, so there is no metamorphosis in some insects. So ametabola or ametamorphosis. Okay, or ametabolous metamorphosis. You can also call it as. So anyway, the eggs hatch to produce young insects. Okay, so are like adult. They are like adult. They are similar to adult. So now, yeah, they're like adult, except what? Except size is smaller, color is slightly different. Okay, armature is not developed. Okay, so they are miniatures of adults. Okay, so as they grow, they mold several times. Okay, so during their growth, so they mold several times, finally reaching sexual maturity and adult becomes adult. Simple. Okay, so such type of metamorphosis or insects are ametabolous insects. Such metamorphosis is ametabolous metamorphosis. So it includes aterigota. Okay, so like columbola. So I think entomology students will be familiar, maybe familiar with these three orders. Aterigota, which includes columbola, Thysanura, and Protura. Okay, so okay, so orders. Columbola, Thysanura, and Protura. So springtails and silverfish, all those. So here you can see this is the egg. Okay, so it hatches into a miniature animal. Okay, it is almost similar to the adult. Here you can see these are aterigotes which do not contain the wings. Okay, there is a difference between parametabola and ametabola. So here it almost similar, but color is different, size is different. Okay, armature is not matured, sexually immature. Okay, so then it undergoes many moldings to increase in size. That's all, and sexually they will be mature. So there is no uh, you know what we call the larval forms. Okay, that is about the ametabolous metamorphosis. Example is eight-tail goats. Right. So then second one is metabola. That means this is a class of insects you can call or a kind of metabolous type of metamorphosis. So as usual, they show metamorphosis. So it is divided into following types. So here parametabola. So that means gradual metamorphosis or slight metamorphosis. You can not gradual, slight metamorphosis. Yeah. So here the metamorphosis occurs. So the three stages of the life cycle are, egg, nymphs, and adults. See, eggs are released by the female and hatching occurs. So first stage of nymph, second stage of nymph, okay, third stage of fourth stage. Okay, so four molting occurs and even fifth molting are also occur and adult will be formed. So here both ametabola and metabola is similar, but here in the nymph, first nymph or early nymphs, so there are no wings. But in the adult, the wings are present. So that is the difference. Here, the wings are absent. Okay, whereas in ametabola, both young one or immature one and adult are similar. except their size and color, all those. Here, there is a difference. Wings are not present in the larva or nymph. Okay, so in parametabola, the larva word is not used. That is called nymph because it is almost similar. Okay, so that is about the parametabola. So you can see the diagram. So order Arthropoda. So like grasshoppers, cockroaches, etc. Isoptera, white ants. Okay, and Hemiptera, aphids. So you should remember the examples. Then hemimetabola. So half metabola or incomplete metamorphosis. So here same, it is also similar to parametabola, but slightly more differences than the adult and the larva or immature one. Uh, they show more differences. Okay, so here the immature forms are called naiads. They are aquatic, whereas the adults are terrestrial. That is the major difference. Okay. So then the naiads are similar to adults except for size, body proportion, lack of wings. Here also, the wings are again they are absent in the immature forms, and their respiratory mechanism is different. So here one more difference than the parameter. So that's why this is incomplete, metamorphosis. Anyway, however, they do not resemble the adult as much as the nymphs of parametabolous. Parametabolous loni యొక్క nymphs కి adult కి చాలా similarity ఉంటుంది. But here the naiad and adult is not similar. Okay, there is more difference. So that's why this is incomplete type of metamorphosis. So these are the three stages. So egg, naiads, and adult. So famous examples are Odonata of dragonflies, Epimeroptera of mayflies, and Plecoptera stoneflies. You remember, అక్కడ మిస్ అయింది, ఇక్కడ కవర్ అయింది. So here you can see. Okay, egg. So these are aquatic. So the naiads, and whenever their metamorphosis is completed, so they are completely aerial or terrestrial. Okay, so then third type of metamorphosis in the metamorphosis holometabola or complete metamorphosis. So life cycle of these insects has completed with 4 stages. So that is egg, larva. So it may be a caterpillar, or you can also call it as grub. Okay, and there is a 2 kinds of immatures, larva and pupa. Okay, so pupa is also, you can call it as chrysalis or cocoon. Okay, so cocoon stage. And adult of the holometabolous metamorphosis is generally known as imago. Okay, and here the newly hatched larva doesn't resemble the adult in any way. That is quite different. Okay, so the larva usually a worm-like, and its diet varies radically from that of adult. Food is also different. It molts several times, including a series of instars. Instar means, so the stages of metamorphosis between the molting. Okay, the stages in the molting are called instars. Okay, molting మధ్యలో ఉన్నటువంటి లార్వా అనేది మౌల్టింగ్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు ఈచ్ స్టేజ్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ సో ఇన్స్టార్, గుర్తుంచుకోండి. ఓకే, ఇన్స్టార్ అని పిలుస్తాం. సో టు బికమ్ ఫుల్లీ గ్రోన్. ఓకే, సో ప్యూపా is the resting stage between larva and adult. Okay, this is also important. During which larva surrounds itself in a secreted case called puparium or cocoon. You can also call it as. Okay, so and transform into imago or adult. So you can see. So all the major insects are holometabolous. So housefly, mosquito, butterfly, moths, like lepidopterans, honeybees, all those major insects are holometabolous type of metamorphosis they exhibit. See, egg, okay, egg hatched. So this is a kind of worm-like caterpillar, and this is first instar. Each stage is called instar. Okay, so second instar, third instar, okay, fourth instar, fifth instar. Okay, so yeah, this is the life cycle of the silkworm. It is here given. Okay, so and these are the caterpillars of the you know the silkworms. Okay, so this matured. Sorry, fifth after fifth instar. Okay, so this larva starts producing silk secreting, and so this silk which it produces, okay, it surrounds its body, okay, by silk threads to form a puparium or cocoon. Okay, this stage is called pupa. So it looks like this. So this cocoon we use for our silk extraction. ఓకే. ఇదేం చేస్తుంది లార్వా దాని చుట్టూ ఆ సిల్క్ దారంతో ఒక గూడును కట్టుతుంది. ఆ గూడునే మనము సెపరేట్ అంటే దాని నుంచి ఆ దారాన్ని ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ చేస్తాం. దాన్ని సిల్క్ క్లాత్ ప్రొడక్షన్‌కి వాడుతుంటాం. ఓకే. ఎనీవే సో after some period, so the pupa comes out of this puparium or cocoon. Okay, so it is broken, and then this is the adult is produced. So here larva and pupa stages are present in the holometabolous type of metamorphosis. Okay, examples are most of the insects. So there is another one is hypermetabola. So this is a kind of holometabola, slightly different. So here also egg, larva, pupa, adult stages are there. It is a still more complex metamorphosis, including 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Okay, but the larva undergoes many instars, each instar differing in habit and food from each other. Okay, example is blister beetles. So these are the blister beetles. So which contain some blister like structures on their body. So here these are the stages of actually the eggs are laid by the adults. So then from the eggs these larval forms are produced. Okay, so they gradually increase in size and gradually decrease in size. Okay, so and then they undergo pupa. So from the pupa, the adult is produced. So it is very complex. Okay, example is blister beetles, and there is a term called stadium. So the time gap between each stage of metamorphosis. So that is called stadium. Anyway, example is blister beetle. Yeah. So what is the significance of metamorphosis? It helps to tie over unfavorable to overcome um, unfavorable climatic conditions. It helps to accommodate growth by periodical shedding of their old cuticle and by formation of new cuticle. Okay, so the growth is increased. It helps to reduce or avoid competition for food amongst themselves by either entering into inactive stage like pupa or by acquiring different feeding habits. So ఒక్కొక్క లార్వా ఒక్కొక్క హ్యాబిట్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి సో ఫుడ్ అనేది సేమ్ ఉండదు కాబట్టి అదొక అడ్వాంటేజ్ అవుతుంది. So it also serves as an important aspect in class. For us, it is one point of classification, okay, based on the metamorphosis. Anyway, this is more important. It maybe I'm expecting one question from this. So hormonal control of metamorphosis. Here, there are various hormones that control the metamorphosis. First one is, brain hormone. Okay, so it is secreted by neurosecretory cells of the brain. So it activates corpora cardiaca, okay, of cerebral complex. Cerebral complex లో ఉన్నటువంటి కార్పోరా కార్డియాక్ అని యాక్టివేట్ చేస్తుంది. ఇట్స్ ఎ సీక్వెన్స్, యూ కెన్ ఫాలో ఇట్. ఓకే, సో prothoracic PTTH, prothoracic hormone secreted by this corpora PTTH is secreted by corpora cardiaca. So, and it activates prothoracic glands. The name itself is indicating prothoracic hormone. And prothoracic hormone or prothoracic gland hormone. So it is very, very famous ecdysone, which is actual hormone that induces the ecdysis. Ecdysis means metamorphosis. Okay, so here ecdysone, a hormone secreted by, this is also important, prothoracic gland, chiefly control metamorphosis or induce. Okay, so ecdysone అనేది control కాదు, induces is the right word. Okay, this question was many times asked. Ecdysone causes ecdysis. Okay, so next one is juvenile hormone. This is also very, very important. The hormone is secreted by corpora allata. So another component of cerebral complex of the brain. Okay, so it prevents metamorphosis. This is important, you remember. Okay, so juvenile hormone prevents the ecdysis process, or we can also call it as metamorphosis process of the insect larva into the pupa. Okay, larva అనేది pupaగా కన్వర్ట్ కాకుండా ప్రివెంట్ చేసే హార్మోన్ జువినైల్, అందుకే దీన్ని జువినైల్ హార్మోన్ అని పిలుస్తాం. జువినైల్ అంటే లార్వా. ఓకే, సో ఇన్ దట్ వే ఇట్ ప్రివెంట్స్ ది larva to become pupa. Okay, so that is juvenile hormone, very, very important. Okay, as long as the juvenile hormone remains active, okay, so each adult simply results into a larger larva. Okay, so it prevents the action of the ecdysone hormone. Okay, only these hormones levels are reduced, then only the ecdysone action works. Okay, so that is about the what we call the metamorphosis in insects and the mouth parts of insects. Okay, I'll complete it in 10 minutes. Right, so insects exhibit different kinds of mouth parts to accommodate their feeding habits. So Yeah, mouth parts can be divided into two basic forms. Mandibulate, so feeding mainly for the solid food, and haustellate type of mouth parts, so to feed liquid food. So these are different kinds of mouth parts. We mainly should cover biting and chewing, piercing and sucking. So not this one, this there are two types of piercing and sucking, and then chewing and lapping, uh, sponging and siphoning. Okay, so these five types of mouth parts should be covered. So biting and chewing type. So you might have studied or taught to your students. So best example for biting and chewing is so grasshopper or Periplaneta americana. So it includes these parts. This is the labrum. These are the mandibles. These are the first pair of maxillae. This is the second pair of and second pair, of course, fused uh, maxillae. Okay. So anyway, so labrum epipharynx, mandibles, maxillae, hypopharynx, and labium. So here this is labrum. It is attached to clypeus of the um, head. Okay, head plate. Uh, and the inner part of the labrum is called labrum epipharynx, which contains your gustatory sensillae. Okay, so to identify the taste. Okay, so and then this is called hypopharynx. See, this part is this part is actually buccal cavity. Okay, and this is hypopharynx. You can also call it as tongue. It is made up of a chitinous plate, or it is covered by a chitinous plate. So it is just like a tongue. Okay, and these are the mandibles, which are jaws to be precise. Okay, their inner edge contains incisions or teeth. Okay, so they are helpful for the chewing or biting or cutting the food material. Okay, and these are first pair of maxillae. Okay, which contain you know cardostapes. Okay, so our stapes. The stapes contain a special structure called palpifer, from which this maxillary pulp is arised. Okay, and the stapes at its terminal region contains two appendage-like structures which form a pincer-like arrangement. So one is Galea and Lecinia. Okay, and this is lower lip or labium. Okay, so which contains two major plates. So submentum, mentum, and the prementum. Okay, so this mm, mentum contains a pulpiture, from which the what we call the uh, labial palps, which are three segmented labial palps are produced. Okay, and this what we call the prementum contains you know uh, glossa and paraglossa. Paraglossa are bigger and glossa are smaller, and paraglossa and glossa are commonly known as ligula. Okay, so let's see their function. This is the labrum. So it holds the food in position so that the mandibles can act on it. And these are the mandibles. Okay, yeah, labrum epipharynx is nothing but inner surface of the labrum. The local surface is labrum epipharynx ananta. So it is organ of taste. Mandible, it is for cutting of the food material. Heavily skeletonized and tooth to inner side. Okay, maxillae. So these are also called as secondary jaw. Okay, so proximal scleroid that connects the maxillae to head is card. So it attaches this maxilla to the head, and you can see five segmented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segmented maxillary pulp is produced from a palpifur. Palpifur term. There is a difference, and this is the Gallia and Lecinia. So what is the function? So maxillae direct food into mouth, assist mastication of food. Okay, maxillary pulp అంటే ఇది. So connected with sensory perception. Okay, hypopharynx is a tongue-like structure. I told you already. In the labium, this is lower lip. So yeah, submentum, mentum, prementum. Okay, so paraglossa, glossa, both are commonly known as ligula, and here palpiger is sclerate is present, from which these labial pulps are produced, and these are three segmented. So yeah, so here these prevent the food to escape from the mouth. Okay, so avi the food kinda padakunda they help. Okay, so then yeah, that is about the what we call the biting and chewing type of mouth parts which are present in the cockroaches and grasshoppers. And piercing and sucking. Okay, we all know that the example is mosquitoes. Okay, so particularly to be precise, the piercing sucking type of mouth parts are present in female mosquito. So it contains 6 stylets. అంటే చాలా షార్ప్ గా ఉన్నటువంటి పొడవైనటువంటి స్ట్రక్చర్స్. ఓకే, సో షూ కికలు అంటాం తెలుగులో. ఓకే, the stylets are composed of labrum epipharynx. So this structure is labrum epipharynx. This is also a stylet. Okay, which forms the food canal, and the hypopharynx. Yeah, so this one is hypopharynx, and 2 maxillae and 2 mandibles. Yeah, here this is maxillae, and these are mandibles. All are, so they are modified to pierce, okay, skin of the host. And so here this what we call the labrum epipharynx, so which sits or rests on these, what we call the hypopharynx to form a food channel. Okay, anyway, so both ends of maxillary and mandibular stylets are saw-like. Maxillary and mandibular end. So they are for really piercing type of endings. So labium does not pierce, but this is labium, but gives support for the piercing by presence of these labillae. When the female mosquito, yes, it ejects saliva containing anticoagulant, which is called hemolysin. Okay, మనకు ఇంతకుముందే anticoagulants లో చూస్తున్నాం ఇది hemolysin, which is an anticoagulant produced by the present in the saliva of the mosquito, so which is also an anesthetic. So that is yeah, so these are the maxillary and these are maxillary pulps. Okay, so yeah, these are the antennae, okay, which contain the bristles. Anyway, so you at least you remember piercing and sucking type mosquito, and then sponging and siphoning type. So this is the actual diagram, you understand. So anyway, the major part of the yeah, so first sponging type, sorry, sponging type of mouth part example is housefly. Okay, and it secretes a secretion on the food material, so that the food material will become a solution like. Okay, so the liquefaction, okay, it converts the slightly soft food material into liquid. Okay, so anyway, this is the proboscis, the major part of the housefly mouth part is. So proboscis, it includes 2 parts: anterior rostrum, which is attached to the head, and posterior hastellum. middle hastellum and posterior labellum. Rostrum, hastellum and labellum. Okay, hastellate type means liquefied food. So it liquefies the solid into liquid. Okay. So anyway, here let's see the points. It is a fleshy, retractile, and projects downwards from the head. Proboscis has basal, rostrum, and distal hastellum. This is rostrum, and this is hastellum, and this is labellum. So proboscis consists of a grooved labium within which the labium epipharynx is seen. Okay, and this is clypeus. Pharynx. Just wait. Yeah, so here this block structure is called labium epipharynx. Okay, and here this one is epipharynx and hypopharynx. Okay, so this one is called oral groove. Okay, so yeah, then yeah, labrum epipharynx enclosing the canal and hypopharynx enclosing salivary canal are there. They are major parts. Mandibles are absent. You can see there are no mandibles. Single segmented maxillary parts are seen. Okay. So end of proboscis is enlarged. So this one and form a disc-like suction. Okay, you can see. So suction structure. So they are called labella. Okay. So which help for spawning. It is a spawning organ. So that contains pseudotrachea. Okay. So you remember this is important. It contains pseudotrachea. So it is found in housefly. And then siphoning type. So here also most of the maxillae, mandible. Okay, so they are very very less developed. Okay, so the main part of this yes siphoning type of mouth parts are seen in what we call the uh, honeybees. Okay, so and moths, so that collect the honey. So from the flowers. Anyway, the hypopharynx and epipharynx are completely absent. Okay, so lower lip is absent and labrum is very very less developed. Okay, the proboscis. This is proboscis is formed by well-developed, greatly elongated and modified galea of maxillae. Okay, maxilla are almost diminished. Their galea, they form the proboscis. It is grooved. Okay, groove ఉంటుంది internally to form the food channel. And at rest, when proboscis is not in use, it is tightly coiled beneath the head, but it becomes extended in response to stimulus. అది మామూలు టైంలో ఇట్లా స్ప్రింగ్ లాగా ముడుచుకొని ఉంటుంది. So whenever it works, so it is extended. The extension of proboscis is achieved by the exerting a fluid pressure mechanism by the blood. Mandibles here, these are the mandibles, are either absent or greatly reduced, situated on the lateral side of the labrum. Yeah, this is the labrum. These are the mandibles. The labium is a triangular plate bearing labial palps. Okay. Yeah. So these are the triangular plates which contain the labial palps. Okay, they are almost reduced. Okay, so these are meant for the sucking the honey from the flowers. Okay, so it is found in moths and butterflies. And this is chewing and lapping, chapparinche rakam anamata. Okay, so they are seen in honeybees. Okay, they are also meant for the these are seen in butterflies. Okay, these are seen in honeybees, chewing and lapping. Here all the structures are present, just like chewing and biting type. This is labrum. Okay, so these are the hypopharynx structures, submentum. Okay, mentum. Okay, so this is prementum. Okay, of lower lip, and here these are the maxillae. Okay, and these are the mandibles. But the difference is they are not saw-edged. They do not contain the, what we call the teeth. Teeth are absent. Okay, so paraglossa, glossa of the, labium, they are converted into proboscis. Okay, so labial palps are present in the galea. So they are, they contain bristles. Okay, but there are no maxillary palps, and labial valves are present. Anyway, here the proboscis is made of is the modification of paraglossa and glossa, and it contains labellum. Okay, so here it is given as flabellum. That is not labellum. That is not flabellum. It is labellum. So it is of chewing and lapping type of mouth parts seen in honeybees. Okay, let's continue to